Winter in Calgary is beautiful, but for seniors, it can also be confusing, isolating, and even dangerous. In today's episode, we're diving into sundowning, why it gets worse during winter and after the time change, and what families and care providers can do to help their loved ones stay calm, safe, and comfortable. We'll also share some simple winter wellness tips, from boosting light exposure to staying hydrated and keeping sidewalks clear. Tune in and discover how to make this winter easier for the seniors you love.
Hi, it's Karen and Rick with Just Like Family Home Care. Do your parents need more care than you can give? We're here to help. We offer 24-hour premium care with a consistent helper.
Our home care services include transportation, personal care, housekeeping, and even overnight and dementia care.
At Just Like Family, we focus on relationships, ensuring your loved one is matched with someone perfect for them. We can help you navigate the aging journey and change your life. Learn more and go to justlikefamily.ca.
Welcome back to the Just Like Family Home Care Calgary podcast, the podcast where we talk about caregiving, senior care, and creating safe, meaningful lives for seniors at home. I'm your host, Janelle. I am the operations manager for Just Like Family Home Care Calgary, and in today's episode, we are going to focus on something that so many families struggle with during the colder months, sundowning, and how the fall and winter time changes can intensify confusion and agitation for seniors, especially those living with dementia. We are also going to talk about winter wellness, practical, simple things that you can do to help the seniors in your life feel healthier, calmer, and more energized during the dark months. So whether you're a family caregiver, a home care professional, or simply someone trying to understand a loved one, this episode will give you clarity, compassion, and tools that you can use. The first part of today's episode, I want to talk about what is sundowning. Sundowning refers to a pattern of increased confusion, agitation, restlessness, or anxiety that appears in the late afternoon or early evenings. It's especially common in older adults with Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia. What's important to understand is that sundowning isn't necessarily a behavior problem. It's actually a brain response. As daylight fades, the brain receives cues about winding down for the day. But for someone with dementia, these cues get all mixed up. Their internal clock gets disrupted, and they misinterpret things like shadows, and they may experience the environment as less predictable and more frightening. Sundowning can be incredibly distressing for the senior who is experiencing it. Winter brings shorter days, which is equal to less sunlight and colder weather, and all of this intensifies sundowning. Now, there are a couple reasons why winter makes sundowning worse. One of the reasons being is that early darkness triggers confusion sooner, and so seniors feel like the day ends abruptly because all of a sudden now the sunlight is gone. Less natural light disrupts the body's internal rhythms. It also makes us want to spend more time indoors, obviously, during the winter, so more time indoors means less stimulation and more fatigue. Naturally, especially during Calgary winters, our homes become kind of a space to isolate, and isolation can oftentimes make a lot of symptoms and feelings worse. So suddenly, the time of day that's already challenging becomes even more overwhelming. So suddenly, the time of day can already be quite challenging for seniors has been exacerbated over the winter months and makes it even harder and overwhelming for them to settle down for the day. We all know that the time change impacts each and every one of us. However, for seniors, it impacts them maybe a little bit more differently or more impactful to them. The seasonal time change, whether we're falling back or springing forward, might feel small to somebody like me and you, but for our seniors, it's actually quite a big shift. That 1 hour shift can disrupt our sleep cycles, our appetite, our medication timing, our daylight cues, and general orientation. A senior with dementia might not understand why the world suddenly feels off. They just know that something isn't clicking. For healthy brains, adjustments can take a couple days. For dementia-affected brains, this can take sometimes a couple weeks. Their adjustment period to the time change can be much longer than the typical 2 to 3 days it takes the younger population to adjust to a time change. There are a couple signs of sundowning to watch out for. So if you are caring for somebody at home, here are a couple signs of sundowning, including pacing and wandering, asking repetitive questions, confusion about time or location. That's probably the one we see most common. Mood swings or irritability, increased fear and anxiety, and trouble settling down. They may also experience difficulty sleeping, so they might wake up and think that it's much later than it is because the light changes. Your circadian rhythm is disrupted with the time change and also the fact that the sun goes down much sooner, so it can disrupt your sleep patterns, and naturally our sleeping can kind of take a hit. So as care providers, what can we do during these episodes of sundowning or when you see somebody struggling with time change or the winter dark months of the year? Supporting someone who is experiencing a sundowning requires calm, consistency, and structure. So here are a couple of helpful strategies for you. 1, keep routines steady. Predictable routines help the brain feel safe. So this could look like having a cup of tea and a biscuit at 7 p.m. every night before they wind down for the bedtime routine. You may also want to incorporate strategic lighting, so making sure that the house is super bright during the day. Open up all the window shades. You could also turn lamps on before sunset to ease the confusion. And some of you may want to look into sad lamps that imitate the natural sunlight. The next tip I have for you is to limit long or late afternoon naps. So we want to encourage morning movement and early day activity. We want to discourage from the afternoon naps, especially the long ones, as this can disrupt the sleep cycle and make it confusing for the body to settle down later. We want to create a calm evening environment at night, so we want to dim the lights, maybe play some soft music, familiar blankets. We want to address hunger and hydration, so small snacks and warm drinks can help us stabilize our mood. During the evening routine, we want to reduce stimulation at night, so we want to turn off the news, we want to lower the volume on the TV or the radio, and we want to create a peaceful atmosphere to wind down the body and relax for the day. Lastly, this step is super important. As care providers, we really need to provide that reassurance, and we don't want to be correcting. So we want to reassure instead of correct. We want to validate their feelings, offer comfort, and guide them gently. So, for example, a senior might say, "I need to get home, I can't stay here." The caregiver should respond in a way that makes them feel reassured and validated, and that might look like, "Hey, you're safe with me here. It sounds like you're feeling a little bit worried about leaving. Let's have a cup of tea. Let's sit together for a few minutes, and then we can think about what you would like to do next." What I just did right there was that I reassured them. I told them that they were safe, that they were in a safe location. The next thing that I did was I validated them. I told them, we don't need to worry about leaving. And the third was guiding or prompting them to kind of focus on the next task at hand. You're redirecting their focus to something else. The key takeaway is to avoid arguing or correcting factual errors. It just increases stress. It makes people irritated. We want to focus on acknowledging the feelings, creating calm, and redirecting. We want to maybe provide some gentle touch, a soft tone, and slow pacing to help the brain feel grounded. So we want to make sure that we're also not talking too fast. I am really bad at that, so we all need to probably practice slowing down our pace as care providers. Small activities or familiar routines can help provide comfort and reduce agitation. So sticking to routines, especially at evening, is very, very important during the winter months. Now, I want to shift into something else. I want to shift into winter wellness tips. This could apply to seniors and the rest of us, but during the winter, one of the things that is super common is that we actually reduce our fluid intake during the colder months. It's a super common issue. Our immunity goes down, our emotional well-being decreases, it's cold out, you don't want to go outside, etc., etc. So here are simple ways to help ourselves and seniors stay healthy during the cold months. First, you want to increase that light exposure, kind of what I was saying before. As soon as the sun is up, you want to open all the windows in the house, let all that light in for the day. Light is one of the most important tools for mood and energy. Sun lamps or daylight therapy lights can help regulate circadian rhythms and reduce that winter sluggishness. Red lamps are also great in the evening. They create warmth, relaxation, and less stimulation for seniors who are experiencing sundowning. Also, don't forget that natural sunlight. Use as much sunlight during the winter as possible. We are super lucky in Calgary that we have a lot of sunlight during the winter, so use that to your advantage. Open the blinds every morning, even on cloudy days. Let that natural light come in, and if possible, crack a window for even just a few minutes every day to allow fresh air into the home. The next tip is to support vitamin D levels. Most seniors become vitamin D deficient in the winter. Low levels can cause fatigue, low mood, and reduced immunity. So have a conversation with your healthcare provider about vitamin D supplement. It can make a really big difference. The third tip I have is to stay hydrated. As I kind of mentioned before, during the winter, we actually tend to drink less water. When it's cold, the part of the brain that signals thirst actually kind of turns off. So hydration just kind of takes a seat on the back burner. We feel less thirsty during the winter. Seniors often drink far less water in the winter, which increases confusion and dizziness. So how do we increase the fluid intake? You want to provide warmer fluids such as soups, herbal teas, broths, warm lemon water, apple cider. Hydration doesn't have to be cold for it to be effective, right? So warm fluids really help here for the winter. The next tip is to create cozy and calming evenings as the darkness sets in early. Creating a peaceful evening environment helps seniors to relax. Soft lamps, warm blankets, scented diffusers if you're kind of into that thing, quiet music. Creating a safe and comfortable space to settle down for the evening can make a really big difference with somebody struggling with sundowning. Before we move on, I want to take a moment to talk about safety, both for seniors and for our caregivers. At Just Like Family Home Care Calgary, our care providers provide essential support in the home, helping with meals, companionship, personal care, and daily routines. However, we do not assign our caregivers to shovel snow or perform outdoor winter maintenance. Snow removal, icy sidewalks, and heavy lifting are high-risk activities, especially on slippery winter surfaces. We want our care providers to stay safe so they can continue providing reliable and consistent care for your loved ones. So instead, we encourage families to access other programs within the city, such as the City of Calgary. They have a volunteer snow shoveling service. You can also contact private contractors or reach out to a friendly neighbor, asking them if they would be willing to shovel the sidewalk. The City of Calgary offers home services for seniors, providing subsidized snow shoveling. This program is open to seniors aged 65 and older. If you're eligible, they can clear sidewalks and pathways and driveways, which can be a huge help during the winter. And you can apply through the city's fair entry program or call 311 for more information. You may also want to check the local Facebook groups in your area of the city for volunteer snow shovelers. And lastly, if you are a family caregiver, you may want to consider asking, like I said, a friendly neighbor or somebody around the area to assist with the snow shoveling for the winter months. All right, let's wrap up today's episode. Winter can be challenging for seniors, especially those experiencing sundowning or adjusting to time changes. But with awareness, compassion, healthy routines, and the right support, these months can be much more manageable and much more comfortable. Thank you for listening to the Just Like Family Home Care Calgary podcast. Stay warm, stay safe, and join us again next time.